Okay, I think I've figured out what was wrong. And I'm very late, and my apologies, working through these technical difficulties. I am still getting to try to get the gist of working with these platforms and working with these um, the mechanics of all of this. It is, as I mentioned, I'm a one woman show here, so I thank y'all for hanging in there. Those of you who have much appreciated. Uh, so, like my sister said, the show must go on. So let's try to make up for some lost time here. So once again, my name is Diane Thomas. I am a empowered Black woman. I'm a mom. I'm a grandmama. I'm a dear friend, sister friend, and a lover of Black people. I work with them in many ways. One of the ways, which is why you're here today, is as a certified high performance coach to work to get us to higher levels of achievement, elevating our clarity, energy, courage, productivity, and influence so that we are going to be living powerful and purposeful lives while we are fighting the constructs of Black excellence and Black exceptionalism. And um, we talk about constructs as being things that people make up in their head, and we end up living, unfortunately, under the weight of all of that. It is unfortunate, and it is something that we have to be very conscious about fighting. And so that's what I do when I'm talking to my clients as a certified high performance coach, when I'm talking to family members, friends, whomever, just trying to find ways that we can work together so that because we're stronger together, so that we are able to break all of that down. So that is my purpose in my work. My purpose here in this channel or on this channel is to build a relationship, build a camaraderie, build engagement with you, give you some of the benefits of high performance coaching methodology in terms of how you're thinking about your clarity, your energy, your courage, productivity, and influence. So that we could get to higher levels of influence and elevate, because that's what I'm about. I'm about continuous improvement, lifelong learning, elevation, staying curious about the world, and understanding my role in it, and helping you to do the same as your coach. So I'm your informal coach here on Wednesday nights live on performance coaching for empowered Black people. And this is going to be the last live for 2023. I wanted to just spend some time today, this evening, to think about transitions as we're moving from one year to another. So I have titled this live, Your 2023 Exit Interview 10 Questions. And these are I think the types of questions that help you make those transitions as I'm learning, even as I'm coaching. And this is something that I do actively with my clients, is I help them as we are entering from one space to another. Before we get started, even in our coaching engagement, I have a sit quietly for a couple of minutes so we can not necessarily probably decompress, but that we are mentally and spiritually in spaces, in a mental space, so we can then engage in coaching, because we come from whatever things we were doing before we got started, and we need to transition into the next thing that we're doing. And to do that consciously, I think it's for you being able to bring your energy, your full engagement to the opportunity that you have to do and learn something new. So as we are looking at transitioning from one year to the next, this is what we are talking about doing this evening as well. So, we need to consciously prepare, and there are people already doing that, right, with celebrations and preparing for the parties and the revelry of the end of the year, what they consider the end of the year. And a lot of us are probably also making mental notes about what we're going to do in the next year. But we need to really, again, prepare ourselves mentally, emotionally to leave one year and enter another. And I don't know that if that's something that you do in your own life, but it's something that I do. I think I was doing it more informally, and now I want to do it very deliberately as I'm moving into the next year. So, um, part of that was my reason for developing the Why New Year's Resolutions Don't Work video series. So, if you are signed up with me and my emails, and you may have gotten those emails the last couple of days, if not, there is a link in the description below for you to first off to make sure that you are tapped in here. So you have you share, and you subscribe to the channel, so you get all and also hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications. So you get notifications if you are on following me on any of the social media platforms that I'm on, which are listed here in the description as well. Then you will also see those notifications in terms of the Why New Year's Resolutions Don't Work series that goes out. If you would like to get on the mailing list so I can actually email you when new things are going on, and I send emails out to my email list. This week, I'm sending them out every day around this series. Then you can hit the link again. There's a link there for you to register in the description for you to sign up to get email notifications. So, this series is going over 6 specific possibilities as to why New Year's resolutions don't work. And so it ends up being probably some things that you've run into yourself over the years, if you found that you've had started and stopped and things just didn't happen and move through the way that you wanted them to. There are 6 areas that I look at in terms of, and I've done some research around this as well, in terms of some of the challenges for people being able to start and continue what they start. Because what's been realized is only about 16% of people. This is research, and I'm sorry, I should have the source at hand, but I don't. So my apologies. But a very small fraction, and where I read in one place, it was 16% of people that are actually able to continue through past 6 weeks with their New Year's resolutions. So I guess what is that? 84% of people do not. They drop off. And starting anything new is going to be important for you to develop habits around it. And so you need to give yourself, and there's a lot of different opinions about how long it takes to establish a new habit. So, I mean, let's give or take to say pretty much it's at least going to be a month, right? That you should give yourself in terms of doing a new thing, and doing it consistently. And whatever that consistency needs to be for you. But generally, even beyond that, there are some things that you could be undercutting and sabotaging yourself around when it comes to keeping these resolutions. And this is what I address in this 6-day series. One of them is lack of clarity. So just not being clear about what it is you want to change and do differently, and why. Your goals or your resolutions may be unrealistic. So based on what the reality is for you and how your life is, you may be setting a goal or trying to reach something that is way out of bounds for you and your ability to do it and see it through. There's no tracking or review. So you haven't set up ways for you to be able to measure and uh, and make sure that you are doing the thing on a regular basis. Self doubt, that's a big one. So you may have decided you wanted to do this thing and may have had the best of intentions, but deep down inside you, you're thinking to yourself, I don't know that I can really do it. Lack of planning. So you got to prepare yourself before you get into doing something new. A lot of times we want to take one thing away and put something else back in its place that is not going to feed us. And so we need to know ourselves well enough and make sure that we plan for the success that we're looking for. And then finally, lack of accountability. So we haven't shared what we want to do with other people. We haven't brought maybe some folks who are close in our circles into what we're trying to do. So if it's just us, we tend to find it quite easy to renege on ourselves. And that's dishonorable. And that's you not living in congruence. And then when you realize that, you tend to let it all go. So those I will be going over each of those points in a little more detail in this Why New Year's Resolutions Don't Work series. So please make sure that you tap in and you, especially if you sign up for the emails, because then you can get the emails, get added to the emails for the next few days. It's going to run through till January 1st. I had actually kept it in congruence with Kwanzaa, and we are in day 2 of Kwanzaa. So forgive me with all the technical difficulties. I forgot to greet you. Habari gani? And today's principle is Kujichagulia, which is self-determination. And so I think this is quite timely that we're talking about exit interview and transitions and things we want to do differently, because we have the power. We're taking our responsibility for what the next thing is for us to do, which is what self-determined people do. And so we are going to be talking about how we're going to do that in this series, as I talked about, and a little bit tonight as well. Even though we do have those 6 areas that I just covered in terms of why we are not meeting our goals, the bottom line really is that we're not transitioning properly. And we've got to leave this year understanding what are some of the questions we need to ask ourselves so that we are going to set clear resolutions, that they are realistic, that we do have a plan in place, that we dispel self-doubt and things like that. So I had these 10 questions that I actually have been using for the last 2 years or so. And these questions were developed by the gentleman who is the founder of the High Performance Institute, through which I am certified as a high performance coach. And he does trainings back some years ago. He used to do like on I think it was the first January 1st of every year. He would do a webinar, and he would ask these questions, and he would have us to ask these questions. And they may have changed over the years that he's been doing it, but the last couple of years, these are the ones that I've been using. So I wanted to take the opportunity to ask you all tonight, share the questions with you, and then ask you what you thought about them, and to kind of share what your impressions are of them. Because as I mentioned before, transition is really important. So first off, if you don't mind putting in the chat for me, how many of you actually do set New Year's resolutions? I'm curious to see that. If you don't mind sharing that. And don't feel bashful. We probably all do. Whether we say them out loud to people or not, we probably do set them. So I'm curious to see how many of you do. Nobody here? Nobody sets New Year's resolutions? That is hard to believe. Well, I'm going to assume that you do. I think you do. You're probably just being a little bashful right now. Uh, but I think one of the things that's really important as we're doing that again is um, making sure that we're transitioning and moving into that space if we are doing it in a deliberate way. So here are a couple of questions that you can use because I know you're going to do this. You're not you are going to set them. Um, so here are 10 questions that you can ask yourself. The first question is, what were your favorite moments or memories from this year? So if you have a pen and paper and you can write this down, I think would be really useful for you to think about because some of the times we always think about in terms of resolutions, what are the things that we wanted to fix? What didn't work well? We tend to think about the things we want to get right. But there are things that went well for you. So what were those things? What are the favorite memories that you have or moments that you have? One favorite moment I can think of right now for myself is getting to watch my granddaughter um, in through she well they didn't really have a graduation per se, but they had I guess a promotional exercise from eighth to ninth grade, and it was a moment for her. It was a great moment for the family to just be able to rally around her and support her. Um, One of the things I think, and we all know this as having some engagement with people, period, over the last few years, and it was a very very tough year for a lot of our young people, a lot of children. Last few years, having to come through the pandemic, and a lot of children were in remote learning situations and didn't have access to friends, and it was isolation and all types of challenges to what a standard or normal, what you and I may be familiar with, um, school life would be, was very challenging. So the fact that they got through and got incredible accomplishments made through that time was really awesome. So it was just really, really glad to see that for her. So if you can think of any moments or memories and you don't want to share it in the chat, that's fine. Just go ahead and write those down because you may have some for yourself, either that you were able to witness or be a part of, if not necessarily for yourself. The second one I think is a good one to ask is, what wins am I most proud of? What are the things that actually went really well for you? And you may have had lots of things, but what makes you most proud of those things that worked well for you? So being able to identify what those are, and then what did they mean to you? So you had the accomplishment, but why was it important? And why were you so proud of that win? So think about that. The next one is, who were my favorite people? So this one is always interesting because I think we engage and meet with people, and I think it really gives you a moment to sit and think about how many maybe new people you met this year, how many new collaborations you were able to engage with, how many new people you were able to help. I um, I would say, just generally, I think my favorite people, outside of my very close friends and my family, are the people that and I've been meeting most people virtually because I have been having opportunities to talk with because of the way that I work and want to engage with people. So I meet a lot of people virtually. I'm on workshops, or trainings and things like that, or I get introduced to people, a lot of introductions I was able to be a part of this year. So I think that it was just meeting people generally who I was able to learn something from everybody that I'm able to learn. And generally, I think if you stay open, you can learn something from everybody. So I guess my favorite people would be all the people that I was able to learn something from or were open enough to share with me this year are my favorite people, because I definitely grew from my getting to know them. So maybe if you use that as a metric and a way of thinking about that can prompt some people to come to mind for you. The next one is your five biggest personal lessons. So what things did you learn maybe about yourself this year, or that you learned about maybe things that you took for granted about yourself, maybe ways that you were tested and challenged that may have surprised you. Um, it could be things that disappointed you about yourself. Hopefully, it wasn't so much that other people disappointed you, but that may be the case. And that's maybe a negative lesson. There may be some positive lessons in there also. So, what would you say would be the five biggest personal lessons that you had this year? Abena says, never bother with them. Yeah, that is a very good lesson. You learned who to stay away from. You learned this person is not here for my benefit and to help me elevate and be my best self. So I am not going to um, engage that energy anymore. And that's always great, because um, I'm always very grateful when people show me who they are, because then I can choose to deal with them or not. And so one of the lessons could be that I learned people to believe people the first time when they show you who they are. So that could be one of the things. But what are those five biggest personal lessons, if you can come up with five of them? Next would be, what three things do you, well, I'll just read it the way it's written here. What three things do I wish happened but didn't? And if they did happen or they didn't happen, whether they happened or not, what did you learn from them? So what three things do you wish happened but didn't? And it could be that it was something that you wished, and then you may have realized at the end, it's a good thing that thing didn't happen because that saved me money, or it saved me time, or it saved me stress, or it saved me some level of discomfort, some sort of inconvenience maybe in the end. So that could be what you learned from them not happening. And that gives you perspective as well, because we tend to sometimes think that what is this? What is this saying? Is a setback is a setup for a comeback or something like that? I'm probably saying it wrong. But a lot of times the disappointments really end up being in our best interest in the long run. So what are three things that you wish happened that didn't? And then what did you learn from those things? The next question, what three positive things happened that you're grateful for? What three positive things happened that you are grateful for? Gratitude generally to me the last few years has been a very important word for me. I've been a person that tends to, I'm very driven and focused, and I'm moving in forward all the time. And, you know, and I'm bobbing and weaving from all of the potholes and pitfalls of things that may happen. But I have to always look at if the good things that happened as well as the things that happened, referencing the question before, maybe that didn't happen, to be grateful that I had the experience, to be grateful that I had the wherewithal to to get through the difficulty and still be standing. Um, I I think, in many ways that has been the cornerstone of my growth as an adult, is to build resilience and to recognize that, um, what's the worst that can happen, and being thinking positively. And it's not even necessarily, I do the glass half full perspective, but being grateful that I was able to have the experience because of what it taught me. So I think if you're able to look at it from that perspective, for the positive things, even not so much the negative things, but why are you grateful for the good things that happen? Understanding what they are and being able to recognize it, even though it may have been way back on March 17th, a little obscure date, right, of this year, but that date may mean something significant. Um, and even if it was way back then, and if you can remember that, then, what would you be grateful for? Uh, and this is, really why too I'm a proponent, even though I don't do it as regularly as I used to, for journaling, because I think that, um, I was going through a training some years ago, and the coach was taking us through how to create a gratitude journal. And she would give us these 3 or 4 word prompts to use to start off with. And it was really amazing the things that those prompts brought to mind for me, that I was able to reach back, uh, earlier in the year, whatever point of time I was writing, and it helped me to remember. And I think that tends to be the thing a lot of times that can pull us from feeling kind of down in the dumps to really thinking, hey, I really was able to get more done this year than I thought, or this thing was really, if I remember correctly, this one positive thing was a thing that I had been trying to do for 5 years, and I actually got it done. And it actually then led to this other thing. And you can then kind of connect the way all these little positive things add up for you. So, journaling, I think, kind of helps you be able to connect the dots with that. So that may be a guide for you to kind of, or a prompt for you even, to get you thinking about doing a journal. And it's nothing. I mean, I used to just like to buy nice fancy journals and nice fancy pens and write, because I just like to do that. Very tactile like that. But even getting yourself in your phone and just setting up your voice recorder, and when a thing happens that's positive, and just recording it in your phone can be a big, um, it can also almost be a gift that you get to unwrap at the end of the year. If you don't listen, let's imagine every once a month that you get to do something like that, and then you wait maybe till this time of year to listen to all of them. That would be really, I actually have given myself that idea. I think I'm going to do that, to start to do that, because I think that's a great practice for us to express gratitude, and to lift our mood, a lot. The next question is, what's the main positive takeaway that you want to have from this year? And it could be something that's positive, something that's negative, something that you learned, some way that you were taught a lesson that might not have been a pleasant one. Um, what is the main positive takeaway? So that would be another word for a lesson. What did you learn about yourself? What did you learn about how you need to be, maybe as we transition to another year? The takeaway could be a leave behind as well. So, what are you deciding you're not going to do? That could be a takeaway for you. So, that's something to think about. And how can you finish the year rested? That is really, that's a big one there. How can you finish the year rested? You've got today's what, the 27th, so you got 4 more days. Uh, don't know if you're in the midst of what you're in the midst of doing at the moment. Are you in a space where you can find some time between now and the 31st, in the midst of, if you're, I don't know if you're entertaining family or whatever, maybe going on for you, but how can you end the year rested? It's not usually a thing that we think about doing this time of year, because we have, a lot of us have obligations that we've committed to with other people. But being rested, being able to be still, um, is a great platform and entree for preparing you for the transition. So that is, I think, a really good question to ask yourself. How are you going to end the year rested? Make the plan now. Um, that may mean that you uh, need to forego an event that you were wanting to go to. May need that you need mean that you need to rearrange your schedule so you're able to take a nap during the day, which is a difficult thing for me. I would admit I am not a big nap taker. Um, and I'm still even challenging myself to get the standard 7 or 8 hours of sleep. But I am going to actually even look at how I can do that better. So going to bed earlier, definitely. That may be a challenge for you too. Going to bed earlier so that you can get up feeling more rested, or you are finding some time during the day, or maybe you're not taking on as much responsibilities of whatever things, the busyness of this time of year. So you're deciding, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, saying no, and the power in that. Um, so those are all kind of areas for you to think about. How can you reframe the way that you are naturally doing things and moving through life, and realizing, you know what, if nothing else, the last 4 days of this year, I have got to find where I'm going to make the time to be more still, be more thoughtful, and be in a space where you can hear yourself, hear yourself think, and and be ready for what's to come. And then the final question is, what are your top 5 goals for next year? So we're not calling them resolutions. We're not saying what you've resolved to do, meaning that there's some pressure on you to change something, which is, again, going back to what I talked about earlier in terms of why New Year's resolutions don't work, because there's a lot of pressure on you, and you're not really thinking through, which is why you're ending up with some of the challenges, as I mentioned earlier. But we're looking at this more so as goals, and they're broad, right? So they're not necessarily specific, but they're big ideas that you have. And sometimes people get confused about what's a goal and what's an objective and what's a strategy and whatever. The goals are the broad ideas about things that you want to do. So, for instance, if you may say, I want to um, well, the big one usually, right, in terms of goal is you want to get more healthy. You want to live a more healthy lifestyle. That's a goal. What's the objective then of the goal? So you're looking then to look at a specific thing around that goal that you want to accomplish, and you're putting some specificity around it in terms of maybe the time that you want to get it done, or the specific thing that you want to do and how often you want to do it. So the objective really in that space is for you to get a specific outcome that can be somewhat measured in that sense in terms of objectives. And then the strategy for you to accomplish the objective is the specific thing that you're going to do. So you may decide, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week or whatever. That's the activity that you want to get to. So you kind of look at the activity, and then the objective is so that you're able to get to this particular outcome during this particular time frame, and then so that you're able to get to the bigger goal of a healthful lifestyle. So that's just around lifestyles. But if there was something bigger than that that you wanted to do, just kind of breaking it down, I think, in terms of goals, objectives, and strategies is a great way for you to think about doing that. And I talk about that in a little bit in this series that I just talked with you about in terms of why New Year's resolutions don't work. So I do cover some of that a little bit there for you in that series as well. And at the end of that series, what I'm interested in doing, hopefully you're interested in participating, is hosting a 7-day performance coaching challenge, and it's called New Year, New View Challenge. And so I almost saw this video series, the Why New Year's Resolutions Don't Work series, almost as pre-work to that. Because this challenge, and it'll run from January 2nd to January 8th. I'm looking to do it live on YouTube every day for those 7 days between 12:30 and 1 p.m. In the afternoon. Now, I know folks are working, and there may be some challenges in terms of getting to watch it as it's happening live. But if you're able to come live, it'd be really great. Some of the things we're going to be talking about during that period of time is how to set resolutions that you actually achieve, how exhaustion, overwhelm, disconnect or discouragement, fear of missing out, and distractions sabotage resolutions, and what to do about it, because that is a real thing, especially the FOMO, fear of missing out. How to create a purpose statement and develop a practice to effectively address life's challenges. I have my clients, one of the sessions that we cover is under purpose mastery. And I have them create a mission statement or a purpose statement. And it's really important. It ties in with some other things that we talk about in other parts of the coaching. But I think it's really great to have a statement that you can personally live by, even if it's just the main words that you use, or get the main theme of what it is. But I think it's really important as you're being confronted by certain situations that may take you away from your purpose. So we're going to do that in the challenge. And you'll also have the opportunity for live coaching and questions. I'll be asking folks to submit questions to me, and then I can answer them live in the coaching, as we are doing the challenge. I can answer them live. So the process is that there's a link in the description below, the New Year, New View Performance Coaching Challenge. You can sign up there. You're going to be given an opportunity, once I get that information from you, to join our Facebook group. And so there's a group there that there'll be opportunity for you to engage with other folks there. And that is where I'm going to be doing the live challenge, starting January 2nd. Will be in that Facebook group. So hopefully it's free. It's not going to cost you but a few minutes. I'll have worksheets available, and those will be posted in a section of the Facebook group for you to access, so that you can do those worksheets. And hopefully that will get you in the mood to moving through what this challenge is going to be for you each day, getting you ready for the next day. So that's an extra tool. I always find worksheets are really great to reinforce what you've learned in the process. And then certainly I have been encouraging those of you who've been able to join me here to sign up for a free, for a limited time, one-on-one coaching strategy session. So you'll have an opportunity to do that at the end of this. If you haven't done it, you hadn't found the time to take an opportunity to complete that questionnaire, I am encouraging folks within the challenge to do it, so that you can get your free coaching session. It's 1 hour out of your day. I guarantee you're going to get some value from it. It is much, a lot, I generally charge, and will be starting to charge for that. I hadn't been charging for it, but I will be starting to charge for it, because there's a lot of value that you can get from that session. Just even if it's only 1 hour. So please take advantage of that opportunity. It is there for you. Make sure you click on the link, New Year, New View Performance Coaching Challenge, coming up January 2nd through the 8th. It will be live on Facebook from 12:30 to 1 p.m. And if you miss it, at least you'll be registered in the group so that you can watch the replays. Okay, so let's see if we have any comments here. Let's see. Hey, Arlene. You had to be a multitasker while you were listening. Could you please? Oh, the list of questions. I certainly will. I will wrap us up here, because I know we started late, Arlene. So I had some technical difficulties. For some reason, my camera would not come on, and it was a simple thing. It looked like it's me just unplugging it and plugging it back in. So those of you who are hanging in here with me, I thank you so much for that period of time, for doing that for me. And so I will read the questions once again. For those of you who were not able to write them down, here's your chance to get it. The questions are: number one, your favorite moments or memories from this year. Favorite moments or memories. And I'm also going to go ahead and put these in the description, but since you're here, you get to grab it now. Favorite moments and memories from this year. What wins are you most proud of, and what did they mean to you? Who were your favorite people? Your 5 biggest personal lessons. What 3 things do you wish happened but didn't? And what did you learn from them? What 3 positive things happened that you are grateful for? What's the main positive takeaway that you want to have from this year? How can you finish the year rested? And what are the top 5 goals for next year? So those are the 10 questions. Yes, Arlene. And you think I'd know this after using these gadgets for decades to unplug and plug back in, right? So those are the 10 questions. So please take a moment, if you haven't already, to like and subscribe to this channel. As I mentioned, I'm here on Wednesday nights from 7 p.m. to, I try to keep it under, even though I'm a little bit over today, but I'm getting ready to release you so you can get on with the rest of your day or your evening. But I'm here at 7 p.m. Eastern, Wednesday nights. And so please, hopefully you can join me next week. But this was the last live broadcast for 2023. So I do thank you so much for those of you who have been with me the last 8 weeks or so. This has been a learning curve and a great opportunity for me to find different ways to engage with you all. I want to have the opportunity to talk with each of you. So those of you who are interested in learning and coaching with me, please take that opportunity to complete that questionnaire. And if you know anyone, so maybe it's not even you, maybe it's some colleagues, maybe it's an organization that you're involved with, and because I do group coaching, and so that may be an opportunity for you as well to share what I'm doing with other people in your network, because there's a lot of people doing coaching out there. It's becoming more, you're hearing more about it. I don't know this if it's, I guess it's increasing in popularity, one may say that. But there aren't a whole lot of people who look like us, who have us in mind in terms of the specific challenges that we are dealing with in the society that we are living in, and are coaching with that ear and able to listen and able to guide from that frame. There are not a lot of us that are doing that. So if you find that what you hear from me, the energy you pick up from me is something that you want to have more of in the space that you're in, and you want to introduce it to other people as well, please have them come to the channel, check the videos out. I post a new video on Saturdays, every Saturday. And get to kind of get in the groove with what I'm doing, and obviously also, as I mentioned, to share some ideas about what you would think or you would like to see me cover and talk a bit more about. I don't do a lot of necessarily the current events things, but if there's something that you see in current events that you think would be applicable in this space, please suggest that. I do make reference to those things when they do make sense to do that, but I am not a gossip or social commentator in that sense. I'm here I have my own viewpoint about how I think we need to be moving in these spaces as Black people, and that's what I bring to this time that I have with you. Arlene says, got it. Love the questions. Okay, great. So glad that you got that, some value from that. And as I mentioned, I'm going to post them when I'm done here in the description below. So that's all I have for you tonight. Once again, I thank you so much for your time and attention. I am prayerful that you will have a safe and restful rest of the year. Please pledge that for yourself. And please make sure that you're able to join me next week. I will be here for our first live broadcast of 2024. So I'm looking forward to that. And with that, I wish you harambe, harambe. That is, let's pull together. Those are that's the sign off, I guess, or the departing greeting that we give those of us who are celebrating Kwanzaa. So until next time, thank you so much. Be blessed and stay safe. Bye bye. Oops, Arlene. Okay, hang on. Best wishes for the and a happy year end and beginning. Same to you. Take care.